Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Small Town Nerdcast. I'm your host, Brian, and is this episode 10? Have we finally reached 10 episodes of this podcast? I don't know. I thought I was going to have great news for you guys today, and then all of that changed. Well, it wasn't like great news for you guys. It was great news for me, but I wanted to share with y'all because that's what you do, man. You find your friends and you share cool things with them, and then like everyone gets happy, you get hyped, and it has to do with house buying because, well, we thought things were going to go fantastically our way, and that turned out that not quite. Now things aren't going bad. Like let me make sure I preface this with things are not going bad. The great news was, hey, we were supposed to close this Friday. Like this coming weekend, we're going to sign the closing on our house. We're going to, get the keys, and like, that's our house, man. So originally it was going to be at the end of the month. And then, I guess after talking to the seller, hey, I got plenty of time. I'll be able to be out of the house, and yeah, totally. You can have the house then. Well, cut to like today, finding out, oh, hey, you know that whole thing about me and being out of the house and you guys closing and it being your house? Well, yeah, it turns out I forgot I'm not going to be in town for a week and a half. So, yeah, that's off the table. Sorry, not sorry. So, yeah, as it turns out, the dude just wasn't going to be able to move out because he forgot that he had specific training with his job, which is the same kind of training that I have with my job. And if it's anything like how my job does this training, it's known months in advance. It's not like, oh, this just sprung up. Like, hey, guys, I know you guys were busy working. You thought you were going to work some more. But, oh, we got this crazy training that we got to go do. No, it's training that's planned months in advance because it has to be for where you do it at. And I don't know why I'm being cryptic with it. I guess I'm just trying to, keep his identity a secret. I don't know, but... So, yeah, we thought we were going to be moving into a house, this weekend, and it turns out, no, we're not. I mean, we're in a house, as a rent house. We thought we were going to move into our home this weekend, and as it turns out, no, we're not. And you know what makes it suck worse is, well, we had the electricity plan to move over, the internet plan to move over, our security company planning to move their shit over, and also we ordered brand new living room couches that we're going to have delivered, thankfully not that weekend. It was going to be later in the week, and they were going to oh man, we were going to run into trouble with cancellation or changing the date. So thank God we found out when we did, I guess. So we were able to call everyone and tell them to pump the brakes. So thank God for that mess. Yeah, that's kind of what's been going on with our life. And it's happening. We don't know what our new closing date is, but it's definitely not going to be the end of the month. And I swear to God, if it's the end of the month, I'm going to murder someone. You will see me in the newspaper on local Houston news, because that's the only news station that will cover our small town. And you'll see that that some poor sap who has a podcast that just started has literally murdered a guy who lied to him about when he was going to sell his house. So you heard it here for exclusive precognitive news. No, I'm not really. Okay, if you're listening, it's a joke. I'm not going to really murder someone, okay? It's a joke. I tell a lot of them. Sometimes they're not very good, but they happen on the podcast. So, that's how we do. Speaking of jokes, I don't even know why I'm bringing this up, but so I had this thought in my head, and I was like, oh, it would be a great place to try to workshop jokes and maybe one day attempt to do stand-up comedy because, that's just another level of punishment I want to feel. I thought, hey, maybe I could try, even though, okay, so maybe that's a really bad idea. It would be a good idea if I had people to bounce it off of as I was talking, actual crowd reaction to the jokes that I'm saying. You kind of don't get that with a one-man podcast, so I don't think that works. I don't think it can work Because if I tell you what's in my mind as like the joke and like the story and the thought process, it's gonna sound weird. It's gonna sound awkward. It's gonna sound perverted, I think. So, what the fuck? I've already kind of brought it up. I'll talk about it anyway. So, like, and this whole thing came up. My wife was sitting in the car next to me. We're driving, and this was to go purchase new furniture. So yes, this is part of the bad day. But like, this was before the day got bad. This is while things were good. We're making a house purchase. Made a house purchase. We were making furniture purchase for the house purchase. Anyway, wife's in the passenger seat. She's watching TikTok. That's what she does because she likes to harass me. She sits there with cool little TikTok songs and like laughs and stuff. And I got to sit here in the driver's seat and act like I don't know what's going on because, what's your first instinct? Like, ooh, something shiny. You want to fucking look at it. And she's like, oh, that chick looks hot. And like, yeah, I want to look at that. Like, I hear the TikTok songs. So I know what, like, TikTok thought dance is happening. Like, I know the thirst trap that is happening next to me because, like, my wife is like, did I say Snapchat at one point? I think I just meant TikTok the whole time. But her TikTok is as completely thirsty as my TikTok is. So, like, that kind of lets you know about where we're at. In fact, I think hers is even more thirsty and is filled with more women because mine at least has a mix of, like, cooking and weird DIY, quote-unquote, hacks. We'll just call them just hack jobs that I just find amusing. Anyway, so she's watching that stuff, and then one of her TikTokers that she normally watches comes on, and then she gasps because, as it turns out, this TikToker has come out as a furry. And not to sound mean, I was not aware that was a type of LGBTQ plus. Maybe it falls under queer. No, because they have heterosexual sex sometimes. Like, I don't know where furry falls under, but I know it. I guess it's just like a kink. Like, I don't know exactly where it's at, and I try to understand. So if someone knows where furryism falls under, please let me know. Please help clear that up. I'm assuming it's just a kink and not under the LGBTQ. I guess you could be LGBTQ plus under the furry kink. Like, I think that's maybe how that works. But I'm not 100%, so please correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, back to the story. Wife comes on, that comes out, she gasps, and she's like, oh my God. And I don't know how to feel about this because this was just kind of thrown. Apparently there was like just no sign from this TikToker at all. Like no foxtails, no ears, like nothing to let her know. And so I guess my wife just felt like she got hit by a ton of bricks. And like, not that she was offended by it. She was just like, wow, this is a development I did not see coming. And I guess, when they're in a fursuit, you don't see them coming. But anyway, like we were kind of talking about it, and like I think that my first thought that blurted out is like, I got mad respect for furries, like, and my wife kind of looked at me like, what is that supposed to mean? Like, and I was like, no, I don't mean like I want to be a furry and stuff, but like I got like real respect for these kind of people because these people put on a huge fur costume, like, a mascot costume, if you will, because that's the easiest way. Character costume, full fur, helmet with the fur face, and like the only holes are like the eye holes, maybe the mouth, and like private part areas, like that. Like that's it. And then they commence to have some of the wildest, roughest, most athletic sex that I've ever seen. And yes, I've seen it because, I mean, why wouldn't you? It's the internet. And it's vast, and I have a lot of free time on my hands. So, like, it's just impressive because I gotta tell you, when me and my wife have our low effort sex, well, I mean, it's not as complicated as that. We're very, like, classic, if you will. We don't go crazy with it. I sweat my ass off. Like, I mean, I'm drenched in the shit. I'm covered in sweat. And then it's not like fun, sexy sex sweat. It's like Brian is overexerting himself sweat. So I can only imagine what these people, the furries, are going through when they're having their like crazy, awesome, hot, kinky, I'm in my fursuit sweat sex. Like, that's a whole another level. Like, I want to give up and stop. These people push through and go even harder. Like, that's why they're probably the best lovers that you can have. Like, they're intense. They're not going to stop. They're just going to keep going. They're like they can literally be the Energizer Bunny having sex if they wanted to. So, like, yeah, that's kind of where my thought process was, and what it really just kind of came out when I was talking to my wife. It was like, oh, they're good at sex. And then she just kind of looked at me, and maybe in a judgmental way of like, how do you know furries are good at sex? And I was like, well, I've been to a lot of comic conventions, let's just say. No. So yeah, that was kind of like the joke, or like my thought process and the weird, awkward moment between my wife. I don't know, man. You let me know how that played out for you in your ears. Maybe I should just stop. Maybe I should just not do this. And Jesus Christ, why has everyone got their brights on? Oh, and I just turned on my brights, and then the car pulled out. Anyway, moving on, we do have some small town drama that I want to bring up, and then also some like news, nifty nerd news that I wanted to bring to you. And so drama news. We'll go drama. You know, we've done personal life, an attempted joke. Let's get into some drama now. And with the small town drama, there's always small town problems, you know, like very first world problems happen when you have small town drama, and it's a pain in the ass, and it's also sometimes very hilarious to see play out. And my God, everyone's lights are so bright on this road, except for mine for whatever reason. But, and let me preface this one as well. How do you pronounce that word, for one? But secondly, to me, a small town is any town or city that has like, I don't know, 4 or 5 traffic lights. You know, you got 2 main roads, a north and south and east and west, and then little tiny veins throughout the rest of the town. I feel like that's like how you describe a small town. You know, because when you get in your bigger cities, they'll have a main road, and then they'll have another one that intersects it, and maybe they'll have like a loop that goes around everything so you can like, you know, detour around major intersections. Like, those are bigger towns and stuff. Maybe towns that have a mall or a Target even, or a comic book shop or a Best Buy. You know, those are like not small. Those are like mid-sized and larger towns. My town has a Walmart. My town has a north, south, east, west main road, and like one, we'll call it a main road, but it goes out to the fairgrounds. So like, and when I mean fairgrounds, I mean not like, oh, these are fair places of lands to plot your fields. No, I mean fair as in rodeo, like yee-haw, that kind of fair. Like, you know, carnies and dangerous rides that we put our young children on because, you know, at some point you have to not care whether they live or die, but you just want to be left alone for like 5 minutes. So that type of fairgrounds. But anywho, so yeah, this is where I get small town from. So back to the drama. The drama comes from the town's chat, Facebook chat page, which is always a great source of just quality information and ideas coming from just the best of the best of your town. And someone not just exclaim this. Like, it wasn't like a conversation was had. It was just an exclamation that, and I don't even know if this was directed at Walmart or H-E-B, but I'll tell you who it was for sure directed at: cashiers, because they said, y'all need to be careful of these self-checkouts because you're going to lose your job. And I don't know if that was a threat. I don't know if that was a piece of helpful advice. What it did do, though, was completely divide the city, because any thought that happens within our town completely divides everyone into either for it or against it. And the statements that happen through, because of course with a statement like this of like the superiority of self-checkouts and the inferiority of cashiers really divides people, but it doesn't leave room for much conversation, just more like loud computer all caps shouting into the void that will one day be swallowed up and never mean anything. And in fact, me talking about it means nothing, but at the same time, it means everything to me because this is my source of entertainment in my town. And you would think, all right, this person does not like self-checkout, and they give a reason, which is great. I prefer to have a conversation with my cashier. I want to have, and like in the old days, that was fun. You sit there, there's a young clerk that checks you out, and it's like they remember, oh, yes, Mr. Tim, I'm glad to see you. How are the children? Oh, I see you got milk and condoms again. It looks like you're going to have a great night. Yes, people love the conversation. At the same time, there's other of us, and like the fear also is like, oh, with the more self-checkouts, there goes your job, because obviously the only thing you're capable of as a human being is to take this piece of pineapple, put it across your little barcode thing, and then move it to a person who's going to bag it for you. Oh shit, that's two people that are going to lose their jobs, because at the self-checkout, you also self-bag your groceries. So holy crap, we're double the lost jobs on this crazy device. And so, like, that's their thought process here. Those of us, and I feel bad for saying this, those of us who know better, who have been educated and maybe have lived outside of the small town for any amount of time, are aware that just because a self-checkout machine is brought forth and put into play, does that mean that 1 for 1, or 1 for 2 in this case, someone's losing their job? It's not like, oh, we're wheeling in the checkout 9000 and then picking up old Mrs. Susan and wheeling her ass out to the trash compactor. No, that's not happening. Guess what happens? You hire people for different positions. Like, yes, that position no longer exists, but now you need people to maintain those machines. Now you need people to help out, because it never fails. Something in your cart is going to be something that's 18 and up, and they have to verify your old stinky ass is over 18 years old. And let's face it, those of us who are now in our 30s or late 30s will look at a teenager who is still 18 and be like, my God, you're a fucking child. Even at like 20 something, you're like, my God, you're a fucking child. But no, because it's fucking children that are the cashiers and the checkers of who, if you're 18 or older, they don't know better, because to them 18 is adult, because that's what they look like, and they just can't put that into I don't know, they just can't make that adjustment. And I'll be honest with you, like I was talking to my wife about this, I look back at my old high school yearbooks, and I look when I was like a freshman and sophomore, and I look at the kids who were seniors and juniors, and still in my head, even though I know I am twice as old as these people are now, in my head I look at them as they are older than me. Like, I look at that and I see this 18-year-old face, and I'm like, that is a person who is older than me, and because I'm somehow trapped in my 16-year-old body mindset, I see these 18-year-olds that I went to school with as still older than me, even though they are trapped in time in that yearbook picture as an 18-year-old. So there's some weird fucked up shit going on in my head, and I don't really know how to explain it, but that's how it works. And I don't know if it works for everyone like that. Maybe it does. Please let me know, because I don't want to be crazy anymore. Like, checkout lady. But yeah, so we all know you get hired for different things, And let's not sit here and act like you haven't been going to the Walmart, you haven't been going to the grocery store, H-E-B, and been like, why is only 3 lanes open? There's like 20 people. Like, you always complain, why isn't there more checkouts open? Like, that was always a complaint before we had self-checkouts. I was one of those complainers. I wanted more out of my checkers. And then guess what the store did? They gave us more. They said, hey, man, you got 10 items or less, you can come right here and you can check yourself out. Guess what? No waiting in line. Just, You put your shit on, you beep it, you bag it, and then you pay for it, and then you get on out. Like, it saves them time, saves them money, saves you time. You're still spending money, and that's it. And let's also, let's think about it. Like, old lady on Facebook's like, I love talking to my cashier and, spending the day and get out. I have news for you. Some of those people don't like talking to you. They have to. They're trapped there for the next 4 hours or however long their shift is, and they are forced to have a smile on their face and say good day to you and be nice to you because that's what they're paid to do. And if they're not, I'm pretty sure they get put in like convenience store hell. Like, I don't know where cashier hell. I don't know where and what they do to these poor children, but I know it's not good. It's not bad because they are always happy, and I can tell the ones that don't want to talk to me because they're gonna be too busy talking to their bagger, because the best way to just avoid me is to just not look at me and just wait till it's time for me to pay, and I'm fine with that. I only go into that line when I'm making a large quantitative purchase. If I'm just in there to grab milk and eggs and maybe some bread, something, small 10 items or less, if you will, I just want to get in and get out, man. My son's probably driving me up the wall at this point because he's gone buck wild in the store. My wife is probably borderline having a panic attack because she just can't deal with him and people and COVID and stuff. Normally she stays home because, COVID and shit, because that's still a real thing. Because guess what? The other great thing about small town, no one wears masks because who's going to stop me? All the liberals live in the big cities. They don't live here. Well, I live here and I care about my grandparents and my mother-in-law and people who are at risk, but what are you going to do, right? You can't make everyone else care. And even if hundreds of thousands of people die, still don't care. Anyway, back to this story. So yeah, it's just full of people like strong two separate camps of what's good and what's not good with self-checkouts. Like, I was shocked by just how opinionated everyone was on the matter, but it seemed to work itself out. So I think everyone had just pretty much decided that, hey, we're all going to have our differences and we should just be happy that we have the choice. Our shopping cart's our choice, and I think everyone can be happy with that. You shouldn't be forced to do something unless it's going to kill other people, like a mass amount of humans, masks, if you don't do it. Anyway, that's pretty much it for the drama that was going on. And I don't know why I got so heated over it, but I did. Last bit of news I want to talk about, a bit of nerd pop culture news. So a new teaser trailer came out for a show that's going to be on Disney Plus by Marvel. I am 100% behind. I am so ready for it. I'm so stoked on it. I can't wait. It is my favorite superhero. When I started reading comic books back in 2012, this one didn't come out too much later. I was into Deadpool and Spider-Man, and I had a lot of fun with that. And we'll talk more about my first comic. Even though I've done it on my previous podcast, the Bry-Fy podcast, I'll probably bring it up here again. But so I was reading comics, loving comics, and my favorite superhero comic book and character stormed onto the scene maybe 2014, maybe 2016. I can't remember what year it was exactly. And it was Kamala Khan's Miss Marvel. She came out of Inhuman event. She came onto the scene and had these crazy awesome powers where she could grow large, grow small. She could stretch. Things kind of developed a little bit more after that. But she was this quirky teenager, which was she was so much like a Peter Parker character. She was an everyman character. She was a super nerd that was a super fan of superheroes, and I've said super 8 times in the last 3 seconds. And so she was everything. She was this huge nerd, loved D&D, loved video games, loved comic books, loved superheroes, and had the blessing and the luck to become one, In the comic book version, it's a little bit different it seems to be a little bit different than how it's going to play out in the Disney Plus series. But this trailer dropped, and I got to tell you, it is everything I love. It looks like it's going for the Spider-Verse look, but live action, very comic booky, very Judd Apatow or man, just like those movies, man. It looks quirky. It looks like a cool coming of age story. It looks like a more lighthearted Spider-Man type story. Spider-Man's fun, but it does get pretty dark. And I mean, not to say this doesn't look like it's going to get serious, because it does look like it's going to get serious. But I just love it, man. And she doesn't fit the mold of like your typical superhero that you're used to seeing. Like, even with Peter Parker, although he's a teenager in that, he's like fucking ripped, you know? And like for Kamala, she feels like me, you know? Like, she just got a normal body shape, or everyone can relate to. She's not like super thin or super fit. Like, she's a normal human being. And like, it seems like she's struggling with, who is she? Like, where does she fit in this world as an immigrant who has her religion and her heritage and her family that believes in this and has their faith, but also trying to fit in with a modern American world where maybe people don't maybe bully her because they don't see like how things work, you know, they don't understand fully. So it just, I don't know, man, like this just hits different, and I can't wait to see how this plays out. Like I said, this is hands down my favorite superhero. Like, I am so ready for this. I can't wait to see how it looks. Like, it already has a great feel. If you haven't seen the trailer yet, go check it out. It's on YouTube, and I can't recommend this more, man. Like, I am so ready for this. I am so down and so excited. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. That's what's going on. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this conversation and this like chaotic thought process of everything that just goes on in my brain, because trust me, I know it's chaos. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Please be sure to check me out on all my social media. Everything's a small town nerd, and I believe on Twitter it's SMTWN nerd NERD. Actually, I think I can go check that. Let's see if I can just go over here and check my Twitter real quick. Yeah, it looks like it's working. So yeah, SM Town is full in Nerdcast. So small town Nerdcast, that's SM Town TOWN Nerdcast. And so you can find me on Twitter. I'm also on Instagram. You can find all those those links over on Twitter. So definitely go there. I Twitch. I have YouTube. Everything you can just find through Twitter, man. Like, that's how I need to get one of those Linktree accounts is what I really need to do. So yeah, go over there, hit me up. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys want to hear going forward, because we're still trying to find the show. Like, I'm just kind of rambling and talking about things that I enjoy, but I am going to start looking for more structure now that I've finally gotten comfortable again podcasting. So anyway, that's it for the episode. Thank you guys for listening. We will chat with y'all later. I was going to just say Bry-Fy out because that was my old thing, and I just get into habits. But yeah, man, small town, big nerd. Sucks. Talk to you guys later. Peace.